uh, they're keeping things moving forward, which is big as we headed into the holiday break. So that started with the first 3 games of a 4-game stretch on the road. The first of those, December 18th at the Dallas Stars, a 4-3 loss in overtime. So you still get 1 standings point. At least you keep your point streak alive, which is massive as we continue to try to inch back our way into the wild card. Our player of the game forward, Matty Beniers, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, a 3+- and 4 shots on the day. This one was tough. Seattle goes down early by a 2-goal deficit thanks to some poor defensive lapses by their own fault. They're able to climb back into it as the top line of Tomas Tatar, Matty Beniers, and Jordan Eberle kind of helped drive the offense. Eli Tolvanen ties things late as the Kraken pull the goaltender and put out the 6th skater to provide the extra offense late, but they do fall ultimately in the overtime period. So that's one's tough. Dallas at the top of their division, one of the best teams in the Western Conference in the NHL. You take the 1 point, you're happy with it, right? You go then, you play the second time in 3 games against the LA Kings. You finished off your homestand with them, and then you play them here, the second game of this road trip. You beat the LA Kings in Crypto.com Arena, should be Staples Center, by a score of 2-1. This one on national television. Our player of the game, Joey Daccord. Joey plays excellent as he has during the entirety of this stretch that he's been making starts with Philip Grubauer injured. Joey on the night, 42 saves and a .977 save percentage. Those 42 saves tied the franchise record for a single game for the Kraken. It was 43, but the NHL did make a change, and they took away one of the saves, which is just downright cruel, man. And it's funny, Joey ties his own record that he set earlier this season with 42 saves against the Carolina Hurricanes at home. So big one there to get that against the Kings. I mean, again, one of the best teams in the NHL. They're an absolute wagon, and they're in the Pacific Division as well. So you're going to see them. It's nice to go down into their house and beat them and get 3 out of 4 total points against them in the 2 games that you've played against them so far this year. So going into it, there was 2 days off. They were in California, so hypothetically, they could have gone down to Disneyland if they wanted to. But regardless, December 23rd, they get back to it. In the final game before the holiday break, the Kraken take down the Anaheim Ducks by a score of 3-2. This one, a little bit more in control. You know, that Dallas game was one they had to come back into. The Kings game was one where they got the lead and they had to hold on to it for dear life. This one, a little bit less stressful than those per se. Seattle scores the first 2 goals early on. They feel good about it. Anaheim gets one in the second period. You're like, all right, this might be trouble. Tomas Tatar scores one in the third to give them that 2-goal lead back. Trevor Zegras then comes out and scores a lacrosse-type goal. Now, if you don't know what that is, basically Zegras got the puck on the end of his stick, picked it up, which is very untraditional for standard ice hockey, and jammed it into the net with it on his stick. That doesn't happen. It takes a lot of skill. Zegras has done it the most out of anybody in the league. And it's the second time that day that anybody had done that. Chicago's Connor Bedard did that earlier in the day. So that brought the deficit for Anaheim down to 1. Seattle is able to hold on, waste the time, and salt that win away. Our player of the game in this one, defenseman Vince Dunn. Dunn, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points, a 1+- and 3 shots. His first assist on Oliver Bjorkstrand's first period power play goal gave him 100 career assists as a member of the Kraken, making him the first player in franchise history to do so. So looking into it, our player of the week, once again, Joey Daccord, in net last 3 games, 97 saves, facing 105 shots on goal for a .933 save percentage, has just continued to be an anchor. I thought with those 2 days off and with the streak that Joey has had, that perhaps we would see Chris Drieger get into the net against the Ducks. That was not the case. It'll be interesting to see who starts in their next game as Philip Grubauer continues to work back from injury. But again, you have to admire the sort of effort that Joey Daccord has had here. That makes it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 consecutive starts, 8 consecutive appearances, and 7 straight starts. Let me make 2, 4, So yeah, that's 8 consecutive appearances and 7 starts, which is just absolutely ridiculous. You're hoping you're not burning the guy out, but Joey has been massive for this Kraken team. You really can't understate the sort of um, performance and effort that he's been able to give here, which has just been big. Last season around this time, more so in January, and I mean we're getting close to that. Martin Jones had this sort of performance. I feel as Philip Grubauer had suffered an injury around that time as well, and came in and just was an absolute workhorse in the net for the Kraken. Same thing with Joey right now. I had talked about it last week. I think I talked about it the week before, and I'll talk about it again. I had some concerns about whether or not Joey would be able to handle this sort of workload at the NHL level, and he's blown through that. Absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of contract he gets from the Kraken moving forward, because with this sort of play, it should be a longer term deal. But yeah, he's been excellent in the net for Seattle, especially as they've dealt with uncertainty, dealt with the bad puck luck. I mean, obviously this stretch is big, but he's been solid all season for the Kraken. So just looking at it here, we do have some injury related notes. Unfortunately, it feels like we have something relating to injuries every week. But forward Pierre-Edouard Bellemare will be out for 4 to 6 weeks due to an injury that he suffered. So that one's really tough to kind of bear. Considering all the injuries that the Kraken have already. I mean, you think about Jaden Schwartz being on long-term injured reserve, Andre Burakovsky being on injured reserve. Philip Grubauer is obviously on injured reserve, as we've talked about. So it's not been an easy season at all for Seattle for a multitude of reasons, but this just kind of adds to it. You've got now Bellemare, Schwartz, Burakovsky, Grubauer all out injured currently. Justin Schultz had been dealing with an injury. Jared McCann missed that game against the Kings. So it really has been hard for this team to stay healthy. And that's just the bad luck of things. They were relatively healthy last season, and that hasn't been the case for them this season. It's just kind of how the sports work out. So that one really tough for Seattle. I mean, to lose another player to an injury is not easy. We'll try to see if we can find the upper or lower body. I know in hockey it's very up or down to whether you get those sort of lower body injury. A lower body injury in that game on the road against the Stars, approximately 4 to 6 weeks. So that is about it for the past week of news relating to the Kraken. Looking ahead, 2 of these games are not like the other. The Kraken sit at a 12-win, 14-loss, 9 overtime loss record. They sit at 5th in the Pacific Division. They are tied for 4th with the Calgary Flames, but Calgary owns the better win percentage in that one, and they probably own the head-to-head record. So Seattle is in 5th in the Pacific. Looking ahead, their next game is tomorrow, December 27th, at the Calgary Flames with a 6:30 p.m. Pacific time start, despite the Flames not quite being the sort of juggernaut team that they have been in recent years. Over the course of this season so far, they've had the Kraken's number so far. So looking to change some fate there, looking to end off this little road trip with a positive note. Then the Kraken will come back for one more game ahead of the Winter Classic. It'll be at home December 29th versus the Philadelphia Flyers. That is a 7 p.m. Pacific time puck drop. The Flyers, they're a pesky team. They're a hardworking group, but I don't want to say that. I'd say you should beat them, but again, it's the NHL. Anything can happen any given night. And then Monday, January 1st, at T-Mobile Park versus the Las Vegas Golden Knights. At noon is the NHL Winter Classic at T-Mobile Park. Obviously a big event. There will be a bunch of different things going on leading into the game itself. I know a bunch of friends of mine are already getting their tickets. They're getting ready to go. We're excited to be able to be on site, be on assignment there, and cover all of the events going into the week. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing, I know Sir Mix-a-Lot's going to be there for the some entertainment. They've got a bunch of Seattle sports legends they're going to bring out for the second intermission. And it'll be cool to see T-Mobile Park transfer from the normal ballpark that we're used to into a rink that holds ice hockey. So